Today we have actually a very special episode because we're going to have Max, the co-founder of Closed In, a go-to-market agency out of Amsterdam. They built an outbound agency for B2B companies. They worked with 50 plus clients and they sent over 200,000 emails every month. Lately, he's going into the finance outbound, M&A, and private equity, and he runs his whole operations through the Claude code, and this is what we are going to be discussing with him. Max, can you hear us? Can you see us?
I can hear you loud and clear, Eugene. Thanks for the intro. I love it.
Yo, what's up? Look,
Nice.
just so that we can frame this conversation, right? Are you guys targeting primarily the English speaking market, or you work with international clients, so that I can, frame the conversation further and ask the right questions?
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're based in the Netherlands, Amsterdam, so we also have Dutch clients. Next to that, it's mainly English speaking, so UK, US, Australia. Those are the primary markets, I would say.
Okay. And so recently you've been talking a lot about going into the finance firms, right? And this kind of sector. And if I'm not mistaken, on one of the posts you've been saying that the market is just a few hundred names from time to time, right? So
Mhm.
do you think that doing a cold outbound in a way where that we used to, right? Like scaled mailboxes, scaled domains, is a good way to target lead lists that are kind of shrinked because the industry is so tight, or the same logic applies to any lead list regardless of the number?
No, that for sure, that's a great question and one that we get a lot. Of course, if the market is small, like normally when we start a partnership, we always start by mapping the TAM. The main reason we do that, I would say, is to get an idea of the size of the market. And like you're saying, especially in these like finance markets, like some markets that we operate in are M&A, so mergers and acquisitions. And when you're looking for like a very specific buy and build situation in a very specific region or a very specific niche or segment, like it's not going to make sense to blast 1,000 emails a day, right? That's like obviously a good point. So I think there the value of outbounds is going to be more in the phase before the sending, whereas about the targeting, the qualification, and also mainly like the disqualification to not lose time on disqualified prospects. And then on top of that, I still think like instantly is, for us at least, the sequencer of choice, because it takes away like the manual labor, where if the deal sizes are of this level and the hourly wage of the person doing the outreach otherwise manually, probably you're not going to outcompete it with automating through instantly.
Just so that I understand, when you're talking about the M&As, are you helping M&As to get more deals into their pipeline?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm curious because in my agency, we've have worked with a few M&As on a bit of a different spectrum. We've been helping them to do the webinars for the founders to explain them what are the different possibilities. But I'm curious, how do you determine the potentially good companies that can suit the profile of the firm that you are working with, right? Because, hey, I'm looking to sell, right? Or I'm looking for a capital is not usually something that you can found in public databases.
What we noticed there is that there's a few like tricks, I would say, that we try to play in order to determine if somebody is in a selling window, like you're mentioning. A few like important things are generally like the first one is going to be the age of the owner. So we see a
Mhm.
strong, like if a founder is older, it's going to make sense that he's going to be more likely to sell, since his
Makes sense.
professional career is probably not going to last forever. And if like if
Yeah.
there's a business owner who only had the business for less than 5 years, we pretty much straight away disqualify him. They're generally not in the position to sell. Another one is like family businesses. Normally, family businesses are not so keen to sell because they want to keep in the family.
Mhm.
So like something we do there is check through SalesNav all the employees of the company and see if there is the employee with the same last name as the founder, to determine like, is this going to be transferred to, for example, like a son or
Wow,
a
this is
cousin.
interesting. This is interesting. I've never thought about something like this.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. And you have like the public directories of like, for example, in the Netherlands, we have a good one, but a lot of countries have this, where you can see what the ownership percentages of each of the people in the company.
Hmm.
That really helps a lot with the targeting because the job title on LinkedIn can be off like more than you would think.
Great, great. Look, that's an unexpected answer because I've learned, some things myself. Back to the operations. You say that the outbound is more ops than marketing. Can you clarify what you mean by that?
Is this like so? Are you quoting me here?
Yes, I'm quoting one of your LinkedIn
Nice.
posts where you
That's
explain
good.
that.
That's good.
Yeah. So and just to add on top of that, so I've seen that you've been talking about this like boring machines and the tech behind it, sometimes even more important than the perfect message, which actually goes against what a lot of people hear. So would love you to kind of expand on that.
I think what I've noticed from doing outbound, I think the perfect message, so to say, I think it's like more of like a one-off thing. If I were to do it manually, maybe I'm capable of actually writing the perfect message. But when we talk about like outbound, like the way that we do it and around instantly Clay, all these kind of tools, I think scale is also like a very important point. And at the moment that we want to scale a project, for me, I want it to be robust. So I want it to be predictable and deterministic in a way.
Hmm.
And I think AI and makes it less deterministic, also increasing the likelihood of errors happening. And if you want to compensate that by putting like the manual labor back in there, I think you lose the skill. So for me, I think why I would say that is that I want it to be reliable because at the end of the day, for me, outbound is like all about like the math. We set up the pipeline, and at the bottom of the pipeline, we get two numbers, which are lifetime value and customer acquisition cost. And if we can calculate those predictably, then we know if we want to scale or not. And in some instances, we don't want to scale, right? Sometimes it's not good, but I just want to know. It's not about tricking the numbers, so to say. So
Yeah,
from that perspective, I would say I rather operationalize in a very trustworthy way, which is going to be giving us the potential to scale.
makes sense. Everyone who's watching right now live, like and subscribe. We are streaming on YouTube, LinkedIn, as well as X. Also, in the description, you'll get a coupon code to get the 10% off your first purchase at instantly. And also, in 5 minutes, Max will be giving us a very interesting tutorial, so stick around. Another question that I do have regarding operations, because you mentioned Claude Code a lot in your posts. So would love to know, how are you currently thinking about using it as a main driver for your operations? Are you trying to replace the entire stack with a Cloud Code? We already heard that you're not trying to replace instantly as a sequencer, but how about other tools? So how are you thinking about managing all of the clients and all of the pipelines that you have using this all new tech?
For us, honestly, Claude Code became almost like at the core center of the agency. Like we do everything in it, and the biggest reason for that is the context. So with the local file structure, and like I don't want to get too technical here, but with like the chats and everything, and it remembering the context and the MD files, it's just amazing that when you have a problem, for example, with client X, you run into that same problem with client Y, but you wouldn't remember yourself. Claude is going to remember that for you and going to give you like just like the right idea. That's just super helpful for us. And with all the connectors, I think it just makes it easier to change stuff in tools, but I would definitely not get rid of tools. So for example, instantly, I don't see anything replacing instantly for us anytime soon. I think like the biggest one here is going to be Clay, where I think like I see a lot of stuff around people saying Claude Code can replace Clay, or probably it could
Yeah.
with the API keys. And I would lie if I said I didn't try. But I think what's gonna
That's a good. Okay, okay, okay.
I think what's gonna happen, or what I noticed in a lot of instances, is that if you connect like all these APIs like glued together, it becomes extremely brittle. And if one edge case starts happening, like the thing falls apart. And if you're like playing around, testing stuff for yourself, I think that's okay. But if you actually work with like clients, especially like maybe sometimes bigger or enterprise clients, again, I want like to be deterministic. I want to know like input, output. And if it's brittle, like I cannot work or scale like that, and none of the teams can. So I think potentially, yes, but for now, we just need like clarity and the tools that are out there give that us. I think Claude is more on top of it than replacing it.
It's a very good answer. I love that because there are two sides of the spectrum when people talk about like replacing, the tech stack, right? So on one side, they talk about, oh, like I can save on the subscriptions, right? Like let me not pay Clay, right? On another side, we're talking about making your work more efficient. So it's not that money saving mechanism because when you have clients, right, when the clients are happy, you're making good money, right? Let's not, this is just the reality. And just paying a few $100s more or less on the infra is not going to make the difference. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you are more in the second spectrum where you try to make the work more efficient, not just save money on the platforms.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like the money saving thing, for me, if we put it like more on a broader scope, I think it's a bit of a scarcity mindset. Whereas like the bigger companies, they're not gonna care about like the few hundred or few $1,000s, especially with those deal sizes, like it just needs to be right.
Yeah. Now it is time for the tutorial. So tell us what you want to show.
So for everyone who stuck around, I'm gonna try to make it worth it. Believe
Let's
me,
go.
this is the
Let's go.
juice.
Yeah.
Like it's good. I'll try to keep it compact though. I'm gonna try to keep it within 5 to 7 minutes. So first, let me give you like top level overview of what we're doing here, and then I'm gonna run you through the tools like one by one. So the goal here is that we're doing outreach for basically like a crypto firm, getting more traders to an exchange.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal.
Okay.
How we're gonna do it is do outreach over Instagram. So there's actually not an email thing because crypto traders generally we don't reach them through email. So that's the special thing here. It's Instagram outreach, which I think is like super unique. I haven't seen it before. First thing that we do, we have Unipile. We can get API keys of Instagram here to actually do cold sending over Instagram, which is super nice. So here we bought a few Instagram accounts that were warming up. Yeah, that's like the main thing happening here in Unipal. Next thing that I'm going to show you is Clay. Here I have
And may I
Clay.
clarify one thing while you're showing
Absolutely.
it? So you said warming up. So do you have an internal like pool for the warm up on the automation, or Unipile is automatically doing that?
Oh, that's a good question. That's like stuff that we're still kind of figuring out because it's so new.
Yeah.
Basically, warm up for us right now means that just have the account for 2, 3 weeks. So it's not completely fresh. We've logged in. They exist for 2, 3 weeks. We do some likes and some scrolling every day, but it's like more of manual labor. It's not really automated like that yet. Next thing that we do is we have a few clay tables structuring data and like a CRM push happening. So here we have a clay table. We have some usernames of accounts that could be interesting for us.
Yep.
Like they could potentially be big traders. What we do first is get the API key of Unipile. We get like a provider messaging ID. It's just the number that we need to reach their inbox. Then here we have the API key to send them a message. Let me show you one of the messages. I'm a rep for breakout. And then we just have like a message to them. I won't read it out entirely.
And is it
And
is
we get
it
like
AI generated message?
yeah, this one is actually is, but we don't have that many data points to personalize the message
Yeah.
because we get like the biography, the follower account. We do get some interesting stuff, but the size of the biography is like very account dependent. So some accounts are just gonna have like one word, which is gonna make it hard to personalize.
Yeah.
But some actually have like a lot. So for example, here this guy had a lot. We can actually do some personalization. We send the message. That's basically for this table. Next thing, so the messages are going out cold, and we have to wait for replies coming in.
Mhm.
We have a webhook on the next clay table. That's this one. On this webhook, we're pulling the replies that we receive. So
Mhm.
let me show you. Here we receive the reply. What we can see, this is the message that went out in here. And this is the message that we received. So for example, the first one, yo, sounds cool. I'm open to explore.
Yeah.
Second one, don't think that's for me at this point.
Okay.
Oh, one positive, one negative.
Yeah.
Basically, like to validate what's happening. We go to the right. We get like the check if it's an inbound or there was an outbound because the webhook is not perfect, but
Yeah, sentiment analysis. So you analyze. Okay.
exactly. So we
Good.
check is it positive or negative. We do that with Clayagent. And if it's positive, what we want to do is we want to create a group chat with a BD. BD is just a crypto word for an SDR. So it's just a salesperson from the
Okay.
crypto
Okay.
firm.
Got it.
We want to create a group chat with them so they can actually handle the conversation from there. because we're not running the follow up the
So
whole
you're
thing
not
after.
okay. Yeah, this is what was my question. So you're just basically like tracking it. Your goal is to generate a reply. A similar thing to what
Exactly.
a lot of cold outbound agencies through the email do.
Ex-
They generate a reply, and then the follow up is handled by the client.
Exactly, exactly. So that's also very cool about this because this whole thing is automated and the uh, the group chat is created, and the group chat message is sent. So
Wow,
that's
this
actually
is
for the
great.
next.
I'm
Yeah,
curious.
it's super cool.
So is the inbound? So is it like Unipile has the docs on triggering on every inbound message that you receive?
Sorry, say that again.
How responses are placed here? Is it the Unipile that is receiving, like triggering a webhook on every reply received?
Yeah, so that's the annoying part. If we get like a lot of replies, this is where we have to do like some filtering,
Yeah.
which I'm only showing like 2 rows, but there's actually 20 rows in here. This is where I'm not going to show you all
Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
going
of
to be
course.
boring,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we have like some qualification criteria on what to show and what not.
Okay.
From here, we even integrate like with the CRM. They use Folk. We designed like the CRM for them. And what they need to do here is assign one of the SDRs basically. So they get like a message in a Slack channel, which I could type in here. You get a Slack message saying you have to assign a BD or an SDR to this lead. They assign the BD in this instance. It's my name. From there, if that happens, we have the last clay table, which basically says the BD was assigned.
Mm-hmm.
We get all of the data, and this is where we can create the group chat. We can create the group chat with the prospect and with the correct SDR. And that's basically when the circle is complete and the handover is done to our client.
Wow, group chat is a very interesting thing.
Yeah, yeah, I really like it as well.
Wow, look. I
Hope
mean,
that was you guys could follow along, but I'm
it
super excited
was
about this and
It was crazy good. I'll be honest again. If it wouldn't, I would say okay, okay. But it's actually really interesting because in my agency, we have been thinking and we've been receiving some of the requests to automate Instagram because one of my companies is doing like AI appointment setters. But a lot of companies are interested in the outbound. And I know that you guys who are watching this right now most likely also received similar requests. So Max just showed us that here you go. Clay, Unipile, and some webhooks playing around here and there. You can figure out on how to transition this thing to the client. Again, like, subscribe. We are live on YouTube, X, and LinkedIn. In the description, you'll get a coupon code to redeem at your checkout and get the 10% off at the first instantly purchase. Now, Max, back to the questions that I still have for you.
go over it.
You said again, back to your post, you said that at one point, like you found 17,000 companies, like a lot of companies, but big databases showed only a few hundred. And a lot of people face the same thing, especially the businesses, when they are trying to research the leads. Like, for example, in Instantly, we have the hyper search, right? And this is one of the best tools right now on the market. We're improving it every day, literally, to get the best thing, the best leads possible, the most qualified leads. But there are niches where it's hard to find the leads. And would love to know what happened here, if you can refer back to this post, and what else, like besides public databases, where can we get the sauce?
Yeah, this specific one I remember very well. This specific one was like a very obscure niche. It was iGaming. iGaming is a bit of a dark niche, almost so to say, where also the people working in the iGaming, like they don't put that on their LinkedIn, and also even the companies that are iGaming companies, they don't want to really publish who is working within the company because of like who knows like what people are gonna say to them or do with
Of
them.
course,
So
yeah.
it's a very private space. What we tried doing there is generally is like public directories. So a big thing there is going to be Epify. Try to find pages. Claude Code can do a lot of that nowadays as well. So yeah, that was a cool one.
You said that you found a sweet spot with your clients, right? So, and you notice yourself when you try to scale past, let's say, 15 clients, things start to break. So, do you generally think that the future of agency scaling is going to be mastering the systems, the Claude code, all the automations, or the codecs. We're talking about like Claude code, right? But you got, the audience. You get what we're talking about. So, do you think that the future is in the automating background processes, or the human resource specifically for the agencies is still going to be the king?
Honestly, that's a really good question. I'm not sure if I'm even the right person to answer that right now because we haven't scaled past that point. If I were to answer, I would say what we notice right now and what is bottlenecking us is I think the context switching. Even though maybe you could potentially do more if you work super efficiently than 10 or 15 clients, and we're with the two of us, switching context between clients is going to take like quite some time. There's always like a handover process from us to the clients because there needs to be communication. But for that reason, we have decided now, okay, this is like for us enough, and we started hiring now. In the future, maybe it becomes more efficient, but I think at some point you're still going to hit the bottleneck, and you might need to bring on bodies.
And who you are looking to hire at your scale, because you're relatively a newer agency that is actively scaling, showing the results to the clients. What is the role that you've been trying to get the person to? I'm curious.
We're mainly like founder-led sales, doing most of the calls for like new business. So is it going to be like something operational? We're looking for a GTM engineer right now, so somebody who can like build lists. Um, I think that's the thing that we are looking to do right now.
Okay. Okay. Not marketing or sales because you guys are handling it yourself, right? So the operations side.
For me, it feels like that will be the highest leverage activity, and I think with the good SOPs, I think the operational side can be handed down sooner. Of course, strategy, you still want to be like thinking about everything, but maybe not actually executing it on the deepest level anymore.
Now we have a blitz, which is me asking you questions very fast and you replying either fast or expanding on your answer. You ready?
Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it. A LinkedIn or cold email outreach if you can only keep one.
Cold email outreach.
Do you believe in the AI SDRs or it's a gimmick?
Not yet.
Do you believe that the outbound agencies, with all the advancement with the technologies right now, will be relevant in the next 2 to 3 years?
Absolutely.
How many emails you're sending a month on average?
200K.
Best signal you have ever used to trigger a send?
Checking if a farm had solar panels through satellite images.
Okay, that was not expected. I do have a question here, HeyReach or Unipile for LinkedIn. You've been showing the Unipile, but do you prefer to use it or still if
That's a good one. Definitely for me, HeyReach. I try to almost replicate HeyReach myself through the Unipal APIs, and it became a big black hole that lost me like 3 weeks of my life. So HeyReach, the
Okay, that's a
ultimate.
good lesson. By the way, guys, if you're trying to vibe code the HeyReach or a similar tool,
Just
just
pay the $50 or $100. It's
79, I think, a month or something. Yeah.
yeah.
What would you consider right now in the MNL, in the finance niche, good reply rate? Again, I know it depends a lot on the campaign, on the audience, but what are we looking at? Like 1, 2, 5, 20%?
Definitely spectrum, I would say like anywhere between 1 to 5 is normally what we hit. I think it's mainly about the prospect to lead ratio. So how many prospects do we reach for one lead? And there we can hit like 30 prospects for one lead, which is better than any other niche that we do.
Crypto outreach, crypto outbound. Is it fun compared to other niches? Is it different or the processes are still the same?
It's very different. It's very different. Like people are chill.
Okay, that's a good answer. Are you winning the Clay World Cup?
Come see this Friday.
Okay. The last question that I ask every guest on the show. If you have, sorry, let me put this off. If you have the access to unlimited budget as well as the best talent in the world for the next 30 days, but you cannot spend it on marketing nor media buying, what would you ship? Would you build a department within your agency? Would you hire someone for your agency? Would you build a completely new product, a workflow, a UI?
That's a very tough one, Eugene. I think for me, like the CRM for cold outreach, I feel like they're not really clicking like the way I would like them to click. And I feel like more people are experiencing this bottleneck. I think I would try to fix that one.
That's a great answer. Max, thanks for coming in. Tell all the people
Thanks a lot, Eugene.
where they can find you.
Well, Max Munsterman, you can find me on LinkedIn, X, YouTube. Probably LinkedIn is still the best one though, or our website, Claude. And yeah, Eugene, thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. I appreciate your time.